This video is about box and a whisker plot. This is a typical box and whisker plot. From this plot, we can figure out minimum value, then lower quartile Q1. Median value is this. Upper quartile Q3 and the maximum value. For each section, we'll cover 25% of data. If there are 28 data, then from minimum to the lower quartile will be 25% times 28 equals 7. For this box, we'll cover 50% of data, that is 14 data. From upper quartile to the maximum value, there are 7 data. Also from this whisker plot, we can figure out the range. Range equals maximum minus minimum. We can also figure out IQR, interquartile range. The formula for IQR is Q3 minus Q1. When we want to figure out the outlier, we got to use IQR, interquartile range. Let's talk about the outliers. The data values that are either much larger or much smaller than the general body of data are called outlier. There is a formula to figure out the outlier. The upper boundary for outlier equals upper quartile Q3 plus 1.5 IQR, interquartile range. Interquartile range, the formula will be the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. In other words, any data larger than the upper boundary is an outlier. The lower boundary of the outlier equals lower quartile minus 1.5 times IQR, interquartile range. Any data smaller than the lower boundary is an outlier. It's very important to figure out the outliers because the outliers tend to skew average higher or lower than it really should be. Outliers need to be identified because if someone is reading the average for a set of data, they could be misled if they are only reading the average. In other words, the outlier will affect the average a lot. Let's go to this example. For a set of data, the first quartile is 12, which means Q1 equals 12. And the third quartile is 18. Q3 equals 18. Check whether 3 and 30 are outlier for the set of data. First of all, we need to figure out IQR, interquartile range, Q3 minus Q1. That is 18 minus 12 equals 6. For upper boundary equals Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. That equals 18 plus 1.5 times 6. So we get 27. Since 30 greater than 27, 30 is an outlier. Let's work out the lower boundary equals Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR equals 12 minus 1.5 times 6 equals 3. The outlier must be less than 3. So 3 is not an outlier for the set of data.